Good afternoon and welcome to the June 2nd meeting of the Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 3:01 p.m. And we'll now have our opening, please.
We begin this meeting by acknowledging that Quinte West is on Indigenous land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning. We thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Long before today, there have been Indigenous peoples who have been the stewards of this place. In particular, we acknowledge the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte First Nation. This territory is covered by numerous treaties. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contribution of the Métis, Inuit, and other Indigenous peoples have made, both in shaping and strengthening this community in particular, and our province and country as a whole. This acknowledgement serves as recognition of the contributions and historical significance of Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island and demonstrates our collective commitment to meet the promises and address the challenges of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission within our community.
Thank you. All right, off the top, will any disclosure of pecuniary interest?
Yes, I would like to provide at some point an update for the Kids Inclusion Art Show. So I have to declare that as the organizer and one of the main venues that is yes, thank you.
Thank you. So noted. Approval of the agenda, resolution for agenda for the June 2nd, 2025 Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting. The resolution being that the agenda for the June 2nd, 2025 Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting be approved. May I have someone to make a motion to approve? Councillor O'Neill. Second, please. Member Mundy. All in favor? Carried. And approval of the minutes. The minutes of the February 3rd, 2025 Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting. The resolution being recommended as that the minutes of the February 3rd, 2025 Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee meeting be approved. May I have someone make a motion for that? His Worship Mayor Harrison. Second, Councillor Sharp. All in favor? Carried. And delegations, and we're pleased to welcome today's delegation, Chantel Fraser, who is the founder of Empowered Path Inc. and the Quinte Cultural Innovation Committee, also known as QCIC, who is going to address us regarding the upcoming Peace Festival scheduled for this September. So welcome, Chantel.
Thank you. I'm just going to start my timer here to make sure I stay in my time. Okay. Hello. Mayor Harrison, members of the City Council, and committee members. I'm Chantel Fraser. Many years ago, I graduated from Bayside Secondary School, and I served in the Canadian Armed Forces right after that for 28 years as a human resources officer. I'm a Métis woman, a veteran turned entrepreneur, and through my company, Empowered Path Inc., and with my roles with the Business and Professional Women of Hastings and Prince Edward, the Human Resources Professional Association, the Canadian Federation for Citizenship, I help influence change to bring about reconciliation, reparations, restitution with a goal of getting to reciprocity. I've been co-conspiring with the Quinte Cultural Innovation Committee for 3 years now. It started in February 2022. However, I'm just joining them today as soon as I figure out how to get my money from my bank account to their bank account. So I'm not one of the founding members. I'm going to take about 15 minutes to go over what the Quinte Cultural Innovation Committee is doing, and then I'm going to leave time for a discussion. And I'm going to give you the questions I'm going to ask you now so you can think about them while I'm speaking. Because after answering your questions, I have 3 questions for you. How would you like to work with the Quinte Cultural Innovation Committee moving forward? How would you like to show up for the Peace Festival that's taking place tentatively the 20th and 21st of September, perhaps a day more? And how do you plan to show up for Monday, September 21st, 2026? Okay, I need my slides. Like I said, I'm a co-conspirer, so I know the key mandates. The one that I would like to speak to the most is the fourth. So I'll just say briefly that with key mandate number 1, the QCIC is actively building situations where Black, Indigenous, and people of color can have affordable housing and live in community so that they can thrive. Number 2, everything that QCIC does is based on the permaculture principles, and they're working towards food security. So there's 7 gardening circles at their property in Belleville to help food security for BIPOC folks. Equity in education, QCIC is working with the Hastings Prince Edward District School Board and the Algonquin Lakeshore Catholic District School Board to bring about collaboration and communication and understanding for what BIPOC students and staff go through in these schools. The one I know the most about is that connectedness through edutainment. So we're talking about events like the first one where I helped out with Black leaders in honor of Black Heritage Month in February 2022, where several Black professionals, entertainers, writers, leaders came together and shared their wisdom and knowledge with us through Zoom. And then we had breakout groups with discussions led by BIPOC folks to talk about what it means to be an ally in our communities in the Bay of Quinte region. Since then, I've attended every single joy and wellness event held at these 4 walls. We're celebrating Black culture, Black joy, Black wellness. I've also participated in the September 21st, 2024 Peace Festival that took place in Zwicks Park. That was our first year doing it on the International Day of Peace. And it was 1 day, Zwicks Park. We had about 100 people show in and spend time with us throughout the day. This year, with wearing one of my hats with BPW, and with the help of the Bay of Quinte Marketing Board, QCIC brought anti-racism coach Salam Debs to Zoom to talk to us about intersectional feminism. We all learned a lot, and we thank you, the City of Quinte West, for helping us with our event that we held on February 14th, where we had Nikki Clark talk about some of the books that she's done and share some of her music and share some of her leadership experience. As I said, everything that QCIC does is based on the permaculture principles, and this isn't my area of expertise, so I'm just going to say that everything we do, every edutainment event, everything that's involved comes down to these 12 principles. When we do the edutainment events, like Peace Festival, we tend to focus on number 1, observe and interact, number 5, honor renewables, number 10, value diversity, and number 11, value marginals. Now let's talk about the Peace Festival. This is an event that's in co-creation mode. We have solidly booked the 20th and 21st at Zwicks Park, and we have an event schedule that's being co-created right now. It includes 2 solid periods of time from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's child-friendly events. So there's a lot of hands-on learning that is good for anybody from kindergarten to grade 3. And we're repeating something that we did last year, where we have a discussion led by select BIPOC folks with a few white allies to meet around literally a round table and to share their answers to one big question. Last year when we did this, we didn't know how popular it would be, and there ended up being 2 and 3 circles of chairs pulled around that table of people listening. So this year we're going to have 3 tables with 3 big questions, and we're happy to collaborate on what those 3 big questions could be. They're all going to be recorded, and the audio will be available after, because we can learn a lot when we work together. There is the potential, you see the little maybe coming up from the 19th of September. There's the potential, if Quinte West would like to do something in Quinte West for the Peace Festival weekend, we'd be happy with QCIC to work with Quinte West to make something happen. However, the 19th of September might be a little bit short notice, so if you'd like to participate somehow in the 20th and 21st at Zwick's Park, you're welcome to join us there as well. Then from 4 to 8 p.m., I forgot to say, we're going to have more collective programming. We're going to have a Three Sisters presentation, a group from Africa Outbound, and we're going to have some anti-racism discussion, specifically about black racism, talking about this is a global phenomenon. It's not just in North America, it's also in Asia and Africa where there's colorism being practiced. Happy to have a discussion about that offline somewhere. I've only got so much time today, so I won't cover what that means here. I want to thank you, the City of Quinte West, for creating this committee because you're actively working to create more equity and inclusion in our community, in this city that I love. I want to thank you for mindfully investing in DEI training and education through the $20,000 that's spent on an annual basis for CCDI annual partnerships and for Citation Canada training for onboarding for our city members and our councillors and our city staff members, councillors, and the committee members, so that you can learn about all those important things like anti-racism and inclusion and disability inclusion accommodations. I want to thank you for recognizing Black History Month and for providing the Badawal Community Center for us for February this year, when we used it for the Paper Clip Princess event. What you're doing already is building a relationship repair with the Black, Indigenous, and people of color in our communities. That's a good thing, right? You're taking action. You're not just putting words on a piece of paper and saying, we're good now, we're good, we've got some policies. And I want to invite you to join us in inspiring others to be more active like you are, and invite you to be as active as you'd like to with us as we move forward to make a more inclusive organization. There's something that a lot of white people experience, and look at me, right? I'm not black or brown. I'm very white looking, even though I'm Métis. White people are often afraid of engaging in conversations with Black, Indigenous, and people of color because we're afraid of saying the wrong thing. When we come together and get to know each other and participate in events together and participate in planning events together, then we build that sense of community and those relationships, and we build trust, which makes for a better way ahead. I want to talk a little bit about why we say BIPOC plus W, why we capitalize the W. And I'm going to have to read this part because it's straight from our webpage and there's a lot of time spent in this, so I want to read the right words. We invite white and white presenting folks to think deeply about truth and reconciliation and to stand up tall in exercising our privilege to step up as lifelong advocates and proactive leaders who invest our time, energy, and resources to dismantle white supremacy and establish BIPOC plus white equity and inclusion. Again, when we work together, when we have these conversations, when we collaborate and become co-conspirators, we can create a better future. I'd also like to point out that there's a little ask there. An anonymous entrepreneur in this area has donated thousands of liters of maple syrup bottled in a proper facility that meets all the codes for us to use as a fundraiser to support the event for youth, the youth weekend that we have Black and Indigenous and people of color youth that are coming to participate in the Peace Festival. So our credit card link isn't quite working yet, but if you'd like to buy a liter of maple syrup, it's amber maple syrup, you can send $25 or $35, depending on what you're comfortable paying, to quinteculture@gmail.com, and I'll make sure that that email is shared properly for the minutes. Well, I'm not a practicing Catholic, even though that's how I was raised. The words that the QCIC has selected that are written on the top of this page mirror what I believe, that each of us has gifts, that we have gifts that we can share with others, and that when we work together, we can make our families, our communities, and our networks a better place to be. I will read the next part about our shared responsibility beyond land acknowledgements after thanking you for having a beautiful land acknowledgement to start this meeting. We acknowledge that the land known today as Canada has always been and continues to be the traditional territory of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We are grateful to be divinely placed here to live, play, learn, and serve alongside with them in this time for a greater purpose. This recognition affirms the deep and enduring history that predates colonial settlement. Our call to churches, institutions, businesses, organizations, and community members is this: move beyond words. Engage in truth, action, and reconciliatory work that fosters peace and unity as one human family. We are humans, diverse in race, gender, culture, and identity. While equity, inclusion, and diversity policies are important, lasting transformation begins in the heart, like the waters of the earth that transcend borders and labels. May we rise as one ocean, unified in purpose, healing, and hope. Let us honor our differences, celebrate our shared humanity, and close equity gaps together as one people sharing one planet. At this time, I'd like to say that Mayor Harrison, I've often heard you say that quote that you said this afternoon when we were lifting the pride flag, and I'm going to paraphrase you now if that's all right. I've often heard you say that when we go together, we go much further and faster. And I've also heard you say that a rising tide lifts all boats. QCIC is inviting Quinte West, the City of Quinte West, to further help Black, Indigenous, people of color, and white folks in our community to go further, faster. We are open to further discussion about how we can collaborate in the future. And now, I'm ready to answer your questions.
Thank you very much. Through you, Madam Chair. You know, we're very fortunate in this area, and I believe that. I often say we live in the best part of the world, and I mean that. And I worked in education for a good many years. My wife worked in education even longer than I did. And in every school that you encounter or that you're involved in, you meet people from all over the world. Yes, you do. And, I've lived here. I moved all the way from Brighton to north of Trenton. That's a big move. My wife didn't even move that far. But what I'm saying to you is that we're fortunate because we meet people, who have been because they're military, they've been all over the world. And they know what they have a first, I think, encounter with what other people have to deal with. And so we're very fortunate here to have the opportunity to meet so many and say, thanks, I'm glad you're here, and I appreciate what you bring with you. So thank you for, all you've done and reminding us. It is a shared responsibility, and it's so important that we treat each individual or in all of us with respect and dignity. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
Councillor Sharp.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Chantal, Ms. Fraser, for coming. It was very interesting. Just a couple questions. I must admit I didn't know anything about the Quinte Cultural Innovation Committee, so this is all new information to me. I did read the information before I came. But how long has the Quinte Cultural Innovation Group been in place?
I'm not sure when it was formed exactly. I know the first public-facing event was on February 24th, 2022, and it was through Zoom. And everybody in the Bay of Quinte region and beyond was invited. There was, I think, about 100 people showed up, many from this area.
Okay, good. And that was, may I just continue a bit, Madam Chair? Just one or two questions. Thank you. So there was a good turnout representing most of our communities in Quinte.
Yes.
Okay, great. And The festival, September 19th, 20th, 21st, and some of the events, can you, I saw the calendar and all the events, just what kind of programming happens? And I heard you say with children as well, families.
I told you a little bit about what we envision happening. The program isn't set in stone yet,
Okay.
because what we believe in doing is having a co-creation process. So should the city of Quinte West like to be involved and offer some of the programming or support
see.
some of the programming, we would welcome that. It's not a, we're gonna do this and you all better show up and like it. It's a, let's talk about how we can make this a good experience where everybody can learn and come together and share information. And so there's still some co-creation happening.
And this is my final one. In where it says it's written, and it talks about many are one in Christ and individually members, is this a religious
No,
program?
it's not a religious program. Some of the founding members have said that they're Christians. Others have said they're not Christians, they follow Christ. And then there's Muslims and there's Indigenous folks following traditional ways.
Right.
So there's many spiritualities involved with QCIC.
Okay, I just, when I saw
Yeah.
that, I thought, well, there's many.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Thank you.
I'm going to go.
Yes.
Member Brown.
Madam Chair, can I ask some questions?
Absolutely.
Hi, Chantal.
Hi,
Nice to
Brenda.
see you again. I just wondered, because you mentioned, that if the city of Quinte West was interested in participating, that the 19th is a possibility, or even in the 20 or the 21st of September. And you said that you want it to be a collaboration. I'm wondering if there are some ideas that are kind of maybe been tabled and kind of floating around with the committee that kind of would maybe point this committee in a direction? Or, is there something that your group would like to maybe see from our committee? Because, we have not attended, so, if, pointing us in a direction might be a little bit helpful.
Yes, thank you. It was really interesting for me last year because with my military background and with the work I've done since then, I'm used to going A, B, C brings us to X, Y, Z. So I'm becoming familiar with this co-creation process. I'll explain it to the best of my ability. I'm new to it, okay? So what I saw happening last year was that the school boards were engaged, the city of Belleville was engaged, the firefighters, there was organizations like Habitat for Humanity that were engaged, and everybody brought their gifts to the table. So Habitat for Humanity didn't run an event. They said, hey, look at all we have in here. Is any of this useful to you? And feel free to borrow it. And when you're done with it, feel free to pass it on to somebody who might be able to use it. Okay, so that's how they showed up. And at each of the table that we had last year, like I said, that table came about because there was a young girl who was in middle school whose school did not celebrate Black history at all, and she's a young Black girl. And so she was quite upset, and she brought it up to her parents, who talked to people who were part of QCIC, and they said, well, we need to have this young girl's voice listened to. We need to get her message out, how frustrating it is for her as a middle school child in a mostly white school to feel like she's alone as one of the few Black children. So she was the lead at that table of discussion, and she was the one who got to speak first, and then there was a couple of other youth, and then some adults from the community from all races who had a conversation about how do we celebrate Black joy and Black history, right? Because it's not all about pain and destruction, although there has been that in the past. We need to move forward in a way where we're celebrating each other and each sharing our gifts. So how you could participate, if you'd like to this year, is you could sign up to say, hey, let's do the 20th and 21st and maybe sponsor one of the collaboration tables and bring a question that's been gnawing away at you as this committee, where you get to see a lot about what's going on in the city that I don't see. There might be some question that's been out there bugging you that you could say, can we ask this question? Or it could be, we have this beautiful Battawa Community Center, and let's have a Peace Festival event at the community center, and it can look similar to what's happening at Zwicks Park, but we want to do it in Quinte West. So really, I know this isn't the answer you asked for. It's wide open to how you'd like to participate, and we're inviting you to participate this year and potentially into next year. So if this year you want to explore and see how things go, and then plan for next year, that works too.
Councillor Mundy, or Member Mundy.
Thanks so much for your presentation, and I really appreciated both the idea of co-creation and the emphasis on inclusivity, and it's really neat to see how you're bringing together the permaculture concepts to be able to inform the work that you're doing, and I just find it really exciting in terms of what's taking place. I remember, I think maybe Brandy, had you brought it to our attention last fall when the one that was going to be happening last year, or and just it looks like a lot of the programming is really amazing. One of the questions I was wondering, just thinking about us raising the pride flag earlier on, is there a sense of how the LGBTQ plus community is included within the work of QCIC, and where those intersections might be taking place in your programming and different things that are offered?
Yes, one of the things we're trying to find time to do right now, between Jackie, who was just outside for the flag raising, and her organization, which I'm blinking on the name right now, but with the LGBTQ plus community, with BIPOC folks, with business and professional women, we're looking to collaborate, to co-create, to bring everybody's voices to the Peace Festival. We did have a couple of volunteers last year, very active volunteers who were there all day last year. So it's inclusive, it's welcoming in voices so that we can co-create that better future for all of us. And we're also talking about the International Women's Day Gala event that Business and Professional Women Hastings and Prince Edward has done for the last 3 years. We're talking about maybe doing something a little different, something that's more inclusive of perhaps food from many different nations and having a different vibe so it pulls in younger folks. So we're co-conspiring, and we would welcome you and your entertainment committee, your event committee, to join us. You know, let's work together.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Chantal. It's been very informative to all sitting here today. And Brandy was Member Brown was responsible for giving us the heads up. And I did attend last year as the person and actually purchased these beaded earrings from one of the vendors on site. And appreciate the fact that last year was your inaugural year, because there was a little bit of I had been concerned I was going to be late, but it seemed that it got a little bit started later than what had been on the schedule and such. So being one of those A, B, C, D, E type people, it was a little different for me, I'm not gonna lie. And then, so yes, so leaning on Brandy's idea as well, if there was something more, and I understand in regards to collaborating and such, but with our timelines and stuff right now, we can't make a commitment at this time, but the invitation is absolutely much appreciated for that. And we certainly wish you all the best in the festival, and thank you for advising us of the dates, because we certainly will promote that within on our website and such under our committee as well. Go ahead, sorry.
May I provide one more thing? Cash is always welcome. So if you don't have time to co-create an event this year, I can make sure you're sent a sponsorship deck, and should you choose to support us that way, that's always welcome too.
We will certainly take that under advisement. So thank you very much, and thank you very much for presenting your or providing us with your. I guess it's a. Does it come out for the beginning of the year? I see it's dated June.
I think it might be our first newsletter.
Is it for your first
I'm just
newsletter?
buying my membership today, so
Got
I
it.
don't have all the background.
Got it. Well, thank you very much again, and we appreciate you taking the time to come out and speak to us.
Thank you.
Oh, no, you're more than welcome to stay. No, you're more than welcome to stay. Any other public input? Okay. Seeing that there is none, in regards to the Quinte Culture, the Get to Know Us newsletter, the printed correspondence items for committee's information be received and filed. Have someone to make a motion on that, please. Councillor Sharp, seconded by His Worship Mayor Harrison. All in favor? Carried. Moving up to the items for the committee's consideration, an update for the subcommittee for Canada Day, and at this time I'd like to welcome subcommittee member Robert Wareham to coming out to. Oh, no, I'm just welcoming you for the minute. You can certainly step up to the mic, absolutely, and then you and Brandy can present, but I just wanted to welcome you and taking the time out of your day and such, and especially coming early enough to be present at the pride flag raising ceremony as well. So, moving forward, if we could hear from. Before that, I would like to also express my regrets in regards to Ray's resignation. I'd like to recognize, and I'm sure the entire committee would like to thank him for his time that he did put in. He's a very busy man with work and such, and certainly helping to get us off to a good start with the committee as well as the subcommittee preparations for Canada Day. Again, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, my name is Robert Wareham. I was appointed to the committee, the subcommittee after it was formed, so I will do my best to provide an update to the committee, and Member Brown can jump in whenever, or she can add information at the end. So just a little bit of information. The subcommittee was formed last June with two primary priorities. One was events around culture and diversity, and specifically adding to the events around Canada Day, and then also to facilitate training and development related to equity, diversity, and inclusion. And I feel like that issue has mostly been was addressed at that meeting by staff, providing information that on training and sessions that were available to staff. If the committee wishes, they could ask for more information on that. I know that there was more training added in the budget, and I don't know specifically about that. But the committee may wish to ask more information about that or further updates. So over the past year, the committee has taken several initiatives as part of its mandate. The subcommittee, prior to my involvement, met with Quinte West Community Services staff and representatives from the Canada Day Committee. So those discussions were primarily focused on identifying suitable spaces for a diverse array of vendors and exploring potential slots for culturally varied entertainment and performers for the Canada Day celebrations. And I think efforts were made to identify and connect with local groups and established event organizers. However, other events and groups faced their own challenges, and a local cultural festival was discontinued, so partnership opportunities were unfortunately a little bit limited. I'm speaking about the Belleville Waterfront and Ethnic Festival, which was discontinued. We had identified that as a potential partnership. However, when they decided to discontinue that, their focus was on bringing those vendors and performers to their own Canada Day, so that really became no longer a viable option as far as a partnership. And then there was other potential partnerships with Loyalists, which faces its own challenges as well. Member Brown can potentially speak to this, but a draft letter was prepared for outreach to other community groups. with a specific emphasis on inviting representation to participate in cultural events. So at this point, I'd like to just sort of like look at the best practices of other municipalities that we looked at in our review. So in most municipalities and cities, there is an effort to make Canada Day celebrations inclusive. But the specific efforts are made on looking at those other events that are part of what I think the federal government has kind of called Celebrate Canada. So events like Multiculturalism Day, Saint Jean Baptiste Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, and I think Acadian Day, maybe in later in the summer. And then we have the potential for other events that Ms. Fraser has identified. And I think that it's also worth looking at the work that the city has already done on building on those events. I know that there's an effort there's a Multiculturalism Day luncheon at the pop-ups and other events that are occurring. So I think that a lot of what we had in our mandate are things that are starting to really already happen. So since this subcommittee was formed, Quinte West has initiated the 4 ward parties, the Quinte West Celebrates, which is an event in August, and each of those can also include elements of inclusion and celebration of diversity. And so you may wish to ask city staff to provide more information on that. And then I would specifically say that one of the recommendations that also came out of that initial presentation that the subcommittee made to the committee was around looking at using other city facilities. So one of the groups that we spoke to were coordinators of the pop-ups. And I think that in particular is a fantastic opportunity. I've already identified that they are the host for the Multiculturalism Day lunch, and that is essentially a city facility that provides a basis for some of these cultural celebrations that we're hoping for. So including events for Canada Day there, and also some of those other events that happen, those other holidays and events that happen during the open season, the season that the pop-ups are open, and then even potentially the shoulder seasons of September, or so for other events that happen there. So I guess I would just, I would offer Ms. Brown here an opportunity to jump in if she wants to.
Thanks, Robert. That was a great update. So the subcommittee has had a bit of struggles with members. We lost Isaac as a subcommittee member, and then Robert, you were appointed, and then now we've lost Ray. So we have kind of lost some time, and I know that my schedule's been quite busy lately with what's coming. But I know from the meetings that have happened more recently with Robert and I, that we've got some great ideas that we'll be able to continue on with for next Canada Day. We're a little bit behind the 8 ball for this year, but that doesn't mean that we still can't reach out. We've got a list of businesses and groups to approach about participating. And we were collecting quotes from different entertainment groups. So then that just gives us kind of a jump ahead for next year. I did speak to someone from the entertainment subcommittee of Canada Day, and they've got everything already lined up, which we're a little bit behind the 8 ball, so that all kind of worked out. But we've got more. We've got more of a plan to get this organized better for next year. And so we are kind of in a position now where we need another subcommittee member, but that might be new business.
Yes. this year has been challenging in regards to the subcommittee being able to. It is much appreciated, the time and effort that all members of the subcommittee, both Robert and Brandy, and like I said, Ray, and then initially member Mundy as well, had started, well intended. But I like the positive energy, thinking moving forward next year, we're a step ahead of the game, and and it's hard when we're a committee that only meets every couple months, although we can call meetings when we see necessary in advance. And then there was the initial talk about having a separate section in regards to Canada Day, and then helping out with Canada Day and including in the Canada Day and meeting with the Canada Day committee, and I'm sure they were very friendly and opening and inclusive in pointing our subcommittee in the right direction. So I like the positive aspect of that we're ahead of the game for next year. This year will be just participate and celebrate Canada Day within and such.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to Mr. Robert Worm and Brandy. I like even what's been achieved, and I agree with Madam Chair. You've done so much research and, and consulted with staff and so forth. But I think what I'm hearing, what I like seeing is that we're integrating into our existing programs, giving stronger consideration to any new programming, but our equity, diversity, and inclusive goals and mandates, and having our entire community at events and being part of the events. So I really like that, and I like that we are doing the Multicultural Day with the pop-up groups and expanding our resources and the groups that we're coming to know better. I think this has been a step. I like the work that's been done on the calendar and even with Chantel Fraser and others coming and sharing information. So I think there have been some good steps, and not necessarily having a whole other multicultural programming day, integrating what we should with everybody into our programming and maybe some music and so forth, but having everyone come to events and sharing and learning some of the message that I heard from Chantel, and I think this has been good, and I just want to thank you. Thank you.
Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Director Grimman. I noticed Chantel's having a maple syrup fundraiser. Is there any possibility of letting her group put a booth down at Canada Day to sell the maple syrup?
Through the chair to Councillor O'Neill, I can certainly connect with Chantel on any opportunities outside of this meeting. We can explore that and any other opportunities for upcoming events or city initiatives that might be possible. I know we've also got a great farmers market and some opportunities there, so I'm happy to connect outside of this meeting. Thank you.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. We already have a maple syrup vendor at the farmer's market, but that's okay. Listen, maybe they'll cause one of them to lower the price. It's a messy business, but it's a good one. What kind of trees do you think they use, Robert?
I'm pretty sure they use maple.
I'm sure hoping they use maple trees, right? Hard maple makes the best syrup, not soft maple, not Manitoba, they want the best. So I thank all of you very much, and Canada Day would be great. And, whether we have all kinds or what we have in terms of activities, the most important part is that it's Canada Day. And we are there to celebrate Canadians, and we appreciate the fact that our country is looked upon as one of the best and will always be that way. And again, as I said to start with, we're very fortunate here to have the base and have so many different people in and out, I have many stories as well. I was principal of Brighton Public School. We had 4 developmentally handicapped classes, and we went to the base every week for swimming. every week. And every child had a volunteer. And I'll tell you, for some of those young developmentally handicapped children, a shower every week was a blessing. Yes, it sounds simple, doesn't it? But it was. So, yeah, we're very fortunate, and I love to see the planes, and I love to see them fly, and I love to have the opportunity to learn more about them. And as my wife would say, when she taught, she had grade 3 and 4, and children were more, at that age, are more communicative to their with the teacher, letting them know what they're dealing with. And often children would come to school and say, well, my dad's bags are under the kitchen table. Next day they come to school, my dad's bags are gone. Or now it might be mom's, but that's all they could tell you, because, everything that is done often by the military is quite secretive and needs to be. So I thank you. We're fortunate, Madam Chair, to have all the, to have so many different groups of different in different areas, different countries here in our province, and I believe strongly that it's so important that we treat everybody with respect and dignity. That's the way it's got to be. No option. Thank you.
And on that note, if I could have a motion from the floor, please, in regards to a verbal update provided by the subcommittee regarding candidate.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I just add one more thing? So one of the things that we found, if I can just ask for the committee to consider a potential recommendation. One of the things that we found in our consultation with other groups is, like I said, there's a lot of interest in other days beyond Canada Day for partnership. One of the things that we were able to do was to city staff were able to provide volunteer opportunities for local schools to participate in some of those events, and we have other potential partnerships. So if it's possible, if the committee wishes for the subcommittee to continue to widen our mandate a little bit, specifically it's on Canada Day right now. If we can widen that to other cultural events, then it would give us a little bit more opportunity to provide some of those potential partners with opportunities.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I think it's great, Bob, but I think you should put something together and bring it to council, and let all the council take a look at it. That would be the best way. So to
Okay.
help you, then you got support, so. Know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I guess the issue is that this committee doesn't meet again until December, which means that our mandate is limited until then.
Well, see what you can do. The only other comment I'd make too, Madam Chair, through you to any committee members, remember that when your committee decides that certain roads are going to be used for traffic and so on, and you put up barriers, and when you've done all the work to get that, you've worked with the OPP in our city to make sure that they support what you're doing. So you don't change things on Canada Day. You follow through with what you've planned, and if there needs to be a change, you make it only through the right people, and otherwise it'll be that you make a change for the next year. But that's the way it's got to be. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, is there a specific issue that's?
Take where the event is. It's, Centennial Park. You're going to take people in there in a certain pattern, maybe down by Weaver Funeral Homes and down by the arena and near the park, or maybe come down by Club 105 and in there. But whatever you designate, and you put up barriers, you can't just arbitrarily move those barriers, because your committee is the group that decided the direction and the path. And the path that you decided would have been approved by the OPP prior to the event taking place.
Okay. So just for clarification through you, Chair, I don't believe that we have made any recommendations in that regard.
If I could, Madam Chair, I'm wondering if Director Grimman with regard to the request about the committee member or your mandate or whatever, what's the best approach, Director?
Certainly, if you're looking at a recommendation moving forward to council that you would like to see on a council agenda, the best course of action is to make that recommendation here, and then we would work with the city clerk's office to get that on a upcoming council agenda, so that wouldn't necessarily have to wait until the next committee meeting in December. That could be advanced at an upcoming council meeting, whether that's the June or July meeting.
Okay.
Can I just make a note, because I was on the committee originally? I don't think it was originally just for Canada Day. We had talked about things in terms of the Christmas lights or different events. So my understanding was the committee actually was fairly broad in terms of, I mean, we'd probably have to go back to the minutes just to verify, but I don't think it was just a Canada Day subcommittee. I think in terms of the latitude that you were wondering about, Robert, I think that probably already what was assigned for the subcommittee, was that your understanding, Member Brown?
Through the chair to you, Isaac Monday. We did have discussion about those other things, and you're right, it wasn't strictly a Canada Day subcommittee. But we got hyper-focused on that because that's what was next on the calendar, right? But we did have other things like, maybe annually adding some diversity to the Festival of Lights, maybe starting to include some things like that would be, more multicultural, and but we did get hyper focused on the Canada Day. So you're right. Yes.
And maybe while we could continue the meeting, Madam Chair, and Director Grimman could check those minutes, because the mandate may already be there, before we close the meeting. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea, because I don't remember it being a hard and fast mandate.
Me either.
I don't remember it being that way.
Yeah.
I mean, in regards to the Canada Day, and that was what we were targeting for, and because it was a larger event. Because I do remember the discussion about the lights and other things. So, yes, absolutely. If you could do the count, that would be wonderful. Thank you, Director Grimman. Was there anything else that you had prepared in your presentation, Robert?
No, that was primarily it. I think just to clarify my own potential confusion is that as a person who joined the committee, I reviewed the YouTube video of that committee meeting where the subcommittee was formed, and a chunk of the video was missing. So it may be that in that context, I missed that. The video of my review of the video, it was specifically on Canada Day. So that may be a misinterpretation on my part, and then the subcommittee was already primarily focused on that when I joined. So if that's a misinterpretation on my part, and if there's a consensus among the committee members that there is the mandate to look beyond Canada Day, then I'm satisfied with that. Thank you very much.
I think what the committee is focused itself, and the reason that the committee was created to ensure that equity, diversity, and inclusion was everywhere within the community. So that would be with the pop-ups and everything else. So I do not see that we're limited by, or that limits any kind of subcommittee activity from reaching out. And city staff have been very helpful. I know that Director Grimman and others have been very much willing to assist in pointing us in the right direction. So I think that us wanting to be inclusive and diverse and everything else, when in a community, that was the whole point of this committee being developed. So I don't see the mandate having to be so restrictive.
In that case, the committee may be interested in requesting a report from specifically on the pop-ups and their initiatives that they're taking this year. Looking forward to potential for years in the future. So specifically on the events that they've planned around Multiculturalism Day and other potential events for any other days that they're celebrating or activities.
When is the Multicultural Day luncheon pop-ups? Does anybody?
I believe that's the 21st, if I'm correct. So the June 21st, I believe it's a Saturday, so. That's, oh.
That's National Indigenous
Okay, so it must be the did I say the 21st or the 24th?
The 21st.
So 24th, I guess, would be Multiculturalism Day then.
Okay, so moving forward then, I still think we can move for a resolution. Oh, Director Grimmin, you did have, go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, we're just kind of scouring the previous minutes. It definitely appears that the committee was struck to work to support event initiatives, Canada Day kind of being that first one, as one of the members mentioned. But I don't think that's exclusively restrictive to being only Canada Day. I think that can certainly be expanded if that's the desire of the working group, and certainly supported by the committee as well. I don't see that being a restriction.
That's good to know.
Just before we leave this, though, Director Grimmin, I as mayor want to make sure that we're not, overstepping into some other group. This group, you've got responsibility and work to do, but you're not responsible for what happens at the farmer's market. So, I'm just saying that you've got certain boundaries to adhere to.
Just to clarify, it's June 27th, third time's the charm. I think I've got the right date for Multiculturalism Day.
Sorry, do we know the hours for that?
Through the chair, I'm happy to answer that question. Yes, Mr. Warham is correct. June 27th is the Multiculturalism Day luncheon at the pop-ups. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the time that's suggested for that. That information can be found on the website at quintewest.ca.
Thank you. So, moving forward, I think we've covered off on the concern expressed by His Worship regarding our intent is not to overshadow or overpower or take over any other type of organization or committee within the community. However, instead partner with said, and keeping in mind the subcommittee has to report back to the committee, and the committee answers to the city. So before anything that can be done, we have to report back to the city anyway, and with the support of same. So I think we're covered off. Again, the big part that the mandate is not specific for Canada Day. So that's good. So I think that at this time, unless there's any other kind of discussion in regards to this, we'll move that, I'll ask for a motion that the verbal update provided by the subcommittee regarding Canada Day be received. Moved by Councillor O'Neill, seconded by Councillor Sharp. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And under other new business, just for the public's knowledge as well, as already discussed somewhat earlier, we are looking for a new committee member to join us on the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, Advisory Committee. The campaign is open until the 8th of June. Please look on the city's website for how to submit your name. It would be much appreciated. And part two, under new business, I'm going to turn it over to Member Brown for an update in regards to the Kids Inclusion Art Show coming up.
Thank you. So I'm pretty tired, I'm not gonna lie, but this Friday night is opening night for the second annual Kids Inclusion Art Show. And last year we had 480 children within Quinte West participating, and this year we have over 2,000 children participating. So we've more than quadrupled our numbers. Initially, I was a little bit frightened as to logistically and financially what that would look like, but our community has really come forward, and it's a go, and Friday night is opening night. So we have just under 30 different locations throughout the downtown that will be displaying the artwork of children from Quinte West between 3 years old and 18 years old, facilitated by the schools, but professional grade canvases and paint. And this show of inclusion is designed for children of all abilities. Children with unique and diverse abilities do not want their own opportunities or to be singled out. They want to be included. And then, of course, children have all sorts of insecurities that trouble them. And so this is an opportunity for all of the children to become one, to create and show unity, and to express themselves, maybe make themselves feel a little bit vulnerable and see the rewards of what that looks like. So we would like to invite the community to come out on Friday evening between 4 and 8 p.m. There will be tour maps available. Those pamphlets will be available by Friday. And just see, it's a free family event, and this is on for 7 weeks, from June 6th, which is opening night, all the way to July 30th.
You're reading up most of
That's wonderful. It sounds very good. And thank you to all the schools who participated through boards. I'm guessing both the Hastings Prince Edward District School Board as well as the Kawartha Pine District.
It's so it's this, as long as they were within the city limits of Quinte West, they were able to participate. So we have the Catholic School Board as well as the Public School Board, and then we included the Quinte West Youth Center in that as well. And of course, the schools, the three French speaking schools on the base are also participating.
Awesome.
You also have Murray Centennial, and you also have Stockdale.
Yes.
Good, thank you.
And if there's any other new business that has popped up within the last hour, thank you once again to subcommittee member Robert Warren for coming out, as well as our delegation in regards to the QCIC. And if there is nothing further, I'd welcome a motion to that the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee now adjourn at 4:03 p.m. So moved by member Mundy. I do have a intent on promoting you to councillor, don't I? Second, second by His Worship Mayor Harrison. All in favor? So moved. Thank you, everyone.